Hello everyone, I'm Diane. Welcome to my channel, Beyond the Sewing Room. If you're new here, this is what I do. I make videos about sewing, which is my hobby and also my job. I love to sew. I make sew-alongs and do tips and tricks, ways to use up your scraps, and just basically all things sewing. So if you're new here, welcome. I would also like to say to everybody that's subscribed, thank you so much, because recently, I think it was last week, I passed the 3,000 subscriber mark, so I was really pleased about that. So a thank you to everybody who's subscribed already, and if you haven't done so, please go ahead and do so now. Now today I thought I'd share with you my current plans, and one of them is to do a sew along with you for a pattern that I have just printed off. So it's a free pattern, so you can all go and get it, print it off or send it to print shop, however you like to do things. And then when I make the video, you'll be able to sew along with me. Now it doesn't need much fabric, so I've just been looking through a few scrap bits that I've got left, and I will be using scraps for this, so you don't need to buy anything new if you do have pieces left from other projects. So, and another thing I would like to say is, if you don't want to waste too much paper, you can just print off the pattern pieces and then maybe just download the instructions and then have your laptop or your iPad or whatever open and just follow along if you want to have a look at the instructions that way. And then that will save you an awful lot of paper. The same with the cutting layouts. If you don't print that off, it will save you lots of paper and ink. So a tip for you there. Now, I let my husband print mine off the other day because he very kindly offered to do that. And I'll get straight on with it and show you what we're planning on making in an upcoming sew along. So this will be for the next video that I do after this one. Today I'm just going to share a couple of ideas for fabrics that I think I'll use. I've got the choice of two at the moment, so I'll share those in a moment. And also something else that I grabbed in the charity shop the other day, which I need to work on. But first up, the pattern that we will be making together is this one. So it's a Maison Fauve. I do like Maison Fauve, and I recently made the pillar jacket, so you may have seen that. So as you can see, it's this little top waistcoat, and it's called Le Gilet Pom Pom, the Pom Pom waistcoat. So if you wanted to, I suppose you could wear something under that, but it just looks really summery in this photograph, so I thought it would be really nice for the summer months just to wear on its own. It is lined, it's a lined pattern, but it doesn't require much fabric. So in the instructions that I've printed off here, it says 70 centimetres, so that is, you're cutting it out on the fold. But a 70 centimetre piece, the pieces that I've picked up here are not 70 centimetres. I've got one that's 55 and a little bit in odd places where it's been cut out. And then I've got some other pieces that are all odd pieces, but the same fabric from where I've cut out a project for work in the past. So I'm going to make it work from those pieces, whichever one I choose. If you're not confident or certain about doing this with oddments of fabric, then do make sure that you've got 70 centimetres. But either way, that's still quite a small amount. And as you can see, it's only a small top anyway. You have the front pieces, we've got welt pockets, there's a little waistcoat fastener at the back with the small belt through it, so you'll need little pieces for that. And then you'll need the lining. So I've got plenty of different coloured lining fabrics, but all the pieces that I tend to have left are small. So I'll be doing some creative cutting out to get my pieces out of the fabric. And then of course you need buttons down the front, so you need to do buttons and buttonholes. So great. It's going to be a really nice little top for the summer. This is the cutting layout. So as you can see, you've got the main fabric and then you've got the lining pieces as well. So you're cutting out the front and back in the lining, same as you are the main fabric. And then other pieces like facings and so on and welts will just be in the fabric and then interfacing. So I've got all my pattern pieces printed off ready, so I'll be cutting those out and working on those in the next couple of days. And the fabrics that I've chosen, well, I did originally want to do it in this lovely sort of linen blue fabric. I'll show you this one here. These are really all just ornaments though, but I do like it and I think it'll look really nice with jeans. But I'll show you what I've got. So first up, I've got this piece, which is this sort of size. So it's not wide enough, but that is on the fold. So I've got that piece. And then I've got some more odd pieces like this. Look, again, that's a folded piece. And that's double. So that's double. And then I've got another one on the fold, which looks like this. So that's the fold there. So collectively, I feel I would be able to get my pieces out of that blue one. So I do really like that. I've got another top in this, but it's in the viscose chalet of this design. And that's a short sleeve top that I wear. You may have seen it on this channel before if you watch regularly. But this is the linen blend of this print. So I really like this, and I haven't got anything in this particular fabric, the linen blend of this print, because it was just pieces that were left over from something that I did for work. So I always keep these bits because you never know, and I will always get something out of them. So collectively, I've probably got enough there, and then I've got lining fabrics that would go with that. So that's my first choice. I may end up making two, so I'll make one for the sew along and then I may make another one after if I really love it. The next one I've got is this one. Again, I've only got one piece of this though, so I'd have to be really creative. I'll probably have to do some facings in something different. I don't think there'll be enough for the facings if I choose this one. So this one is the one that I measured out, and I've only got 55 centimetres and then a little bit more where it dips down. So I really love this because it's this sort of colour again, this sort of coral, which I'm really loving at the moment. It's got a snake on it, so I've got a snake going through it. But I really like those colours for the summer. I think they're really pretty. And as you can see, we've got the fold here, but look, this is where something's been cut out of it, and this was just a bit that I had left. So I probably could get it out of that, but as I said, I may need to do some contrasting facings. We'll have to see. Maybe I will get it all out of that, because sometimes when you lay pieces on, the way they lay them on in the diagram is so wasteful anyway. So we will see. So these are my two options. The blue linen, this one is a cotton. All this cotton with the snake and the leaves on. But I do think that's really summery as well. So which one will I make first? Because as I said, I may end up making two anyway to use up these little bits, with it being such a small top. So if you have a look in your fabric stash, I'm sure that you've got a couple of pieces 70 centimetres easily. You're bound to have made something or bought some and have it stashed or stored away. So something like a cotton, a linen, maybe a denim, a twill, something like that. So you want a little bit of structure because there are going to be welt pockets and it goes to a point at the bottom, so you want it to sit correctly. And then you will need a lining fabric as well. If you didn't want to line it in lining fabric, maybe you could use some other plain fabric that you've got to line it with and do it that way. And then of course you will need buttons. How many buttons did I say? Let me look. Is it 6? 5. 5 buttons. You'll need 5 buttons, and then you'll need the waistcoat belt for the back. If you didn't want to do that, you could just have a little tie belt at the back, but if that's something you don't want to buy. So I have made little waistcoats before that have just had 2 little belt straps on either side and they just tie in the middle. So if you don't want to buy any extra hardware, you could just have it as a small tie at the back. So yes, so that's what you'll need. And I'm looking forward to getting started on that. Of course, you'll need some interfacing, and the weight that you use on the interfacing will depend on how heavy the fabric is. So light to medium. But if you're using a heavier fabric, you'll need the medium one. Okay, So that's the first thing we've got planned. Then for another video, I'll probably show this process as well. We've just been away recently for a few days, and while we were away we had a little look in the charity shops. And as I've been really into making the jeans recently, not making lots, but I've made a couple of pairs and I'm enjoying wearing them, and they fit so much better when you make them yourself. But finding denim, or finding denim that's the same as you get on store-bought jeans, I've found is very difficult. Because even if you think you're ordering the heavier one, sometimes it arrives and it's more like a fabric than not like a heavy denim. I saw these fat face jeans in the charity shop. These are women's jeans and this is a 10. Now I just feel that this must have got the wrong size on, because I'm probably an 8. If we look at these, so it's fat face Chesham girlfriend UK 10. Look, that's got to be wrong. It's got to have the wrong size in. Anyway, that's not what I bought it for. I bought it for the denim. So I like the colour of the denim and I like the weight of the denim, and it's also got a bit of stretch. So what I thought I'd do is use my pattern for jeans that I have, and what I made a couple of my other pairs, and I did modify it on the last one and made the rise higher and everything and altered the leg. And I thought I would just take them apart down the side and up the centre and underneath here, obviously, unpick the waistband, and I'm going to lay my pattern pieces on and recut the legs. So I'm going to recut the legs, also alter the crotch, the waistband, and just remake them. And at least I've got the denim there, and I've also already got the button and the fly. Hopefully I can just leave the fly in position and leave that where it is, and hopefully I will get a nice pair of good fitting jeans to the style and the leg sort of width that I want. And what were these? I think these were £6. I think they were 6 or so. No, I think they were £6, and you've got sort of everything: the zip, the button, and the denim there. I mean, if they fit you, if you went into the shop and got those for that price and they fit you, that would be even better, because I've had a little look online and this particular pair of fat face jeans is £55. I would not pay that for a pair of jeans, but I know people do, and if you wear them every day, that's perfectly fine. But for me, it was the denim that drew me. So I'll be remaking those in another video as well. Now, one more thing, completely unsewing related, is this book that I've just finished last night. So I know a few of you said a few weeks ago that you enjoyed hearing about different books, and I've been forgetting to do this. So this one I got from High Peaks when I went, High Peaks bookshop, when I went about a month ago now, when we went away in the caravan last, and we went to Cossington Water. We had a trip to this bookshop. So good. This book cost me £3.99. If I'd have got it from Waterstones, it would have been, has it got the price on? Yeah, £9.99. It would have been £9.99. And it had been on my list a little while ago, and I saw it, so I knew I wanted to get it. I really enjoyed this author's style of writing, Sylvia Moreno Garcia, so I will be checking out some more of her work. It's dark. It's not my usual kind of thing, but I really enjoyed it, just because the story was so unusual. But I really liked her style of writing and the characters. So it's about a young woman, Naomi, who goes to check up and rescue her cousin, Catalina, from a situation that she's in. She's married, she's gone to live at High Place with a new husband, but she's sent them a letter. She's seeming very distressed, very strange, something's not right going on. So she goes to stay with them and figure out what's going on. And when she gets there, everything's really odd. This place in the mountains has been made to look like a place in England, although it's not. And it's spooky, sort of old-fashioned spooky story kind of thing from the classics. And that was the feeling I got from it, and that's what I liked at the beginning. It did get very strange close to the end, somewhere in the middle and then towards the end. And I was, oh, I'm not sure if this is for me, but I persevered because, as I said, the writing is so good. And the things that are going on, it was so unusual. I can't give too much away. It was just such an unusual storyline that I think that's what made me enjoy it. And as I said, it gave me the feeling of an old-fashioned ghost story, which I do like. I don't like horror. So if you haven't read this already and you do like things like Dracula, Frankenstein, that kind of thing, and an old spooky house kind of story, then this might be for you. So I just thought I'd mention that before I go today. Now, I hope you enjoyed that today and you're planning on joining in with the sew along when I create that. Please let me know what your preferences were for the fabrics, and also if you've got something in mind that you might want to make up to do a bit of scrap busting. I'll be back soon, and as always, thank you so much for watching.